what you can do up there, the main thing you can do to get attention is walk on stage during your opening statement. And it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be not what you want to do. Everyone's going to deliver these flowery, nice opening statements, because that's what had been going on at the debates. Everyone's going to be delivering this, like, aspirational thing.
Yeah.
You go out there and you, like, rip Joe Biden. That's what you do in your opening. You basically say to him, I'm summarizing, like, you're out here claiming you have the experience to be president, but every experience you've had has been wrong. You've been wrong about NAFTA, you're wrong with and just rip him on everything and basically say, Joe, like, this isn't personal, but I think your experience makes you not qualified to be president.
And Bernie didn't do that.
And, well, in the book I go through the story. It's, you know, Jeff Weaver helped write the statement with Bernie, sat with Bernie, wrote a statement with Bernie. Bernie practiced the statement and kind of agreed to deliver it at prep. We went into the green room, and he practiced it, and the air went out. And when he walked out of the green room towards the stage, I turned to Faz. I was like, do you think he's going to do it? And Faz just, like, shook his head like, this isn't. Like, and this was, like, the exact opposite from the debate before in Detroit, which was the debate with I wrote the damn bill and, like, real feisty Bernie debate. What happened there was completely different. We walked into the green room, and Bernie was, like, literally, like, completely low energy, kind of slumped in this tiny chair.
Yeah.
And in the green room, and John Delaney sends out a press release. It's like, I'm going to call Bernie a communist. And Jeff literally texts Faz and I, like, read Bernie the press release. So we read him the press release, and he was like, do you remember that song, like the Charlie Brown song? I loved that song as a kid. Why is everybody always picking on me? And Faz started, like, playing the song on his phone, and Bernie's dancing around the room, airboxing, goes on stage and just, like, kind of mows down everybody. This, like, completely opposite. Went from entering the room high energy to just after he wrote out the speech and gave it, just, like, you could just see he, like, didn't want to attack Joe, and he just kind of lost. And he go down stage, and look, the problem was, first off, his voice was the focus of everything because it sounded like utter garbage. But also, like, he gave, like, the Bernifesto, which we all love the Bernifesto.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. We love Medicare for all. We love to talk about that. But it wasn't going to get any attention.
Right, that's true.
And the problem is, what we had told him is you have to do it when you walk out, because if you don't, it doesn't set the tone. Because he did some of the stuff in that thing he kind of snuck in later, but it wasn't in one punch, it wasn't succinct, and it wasn't at the beginning.
Didn't set the table for the whole discussion. The
problem is, we always knew, strategically, we always knew more than any other candidate, if Joe Biden could consolidate the field after South Carolina,
then he can win.
Then he's, like, if it's a Bernie Biden race on Super Tuesday, that is not politically a advantageous matchup on Super Tuesday for Bernie, if it's kind of one-on-one there, which for all intents and purposes, like, Bloomberg was a non-factor, Warren was
Mayor Pete.
Mayor Pete dropped out.
Right.
Was a non-factor. And either we have to get to a multi-way race on Super Tuesday, or definitely not against Joe Biden on Super Tuesday. And it's because, just the math of this, it was this beer track, wine track, meaning if Bernie and Joe are splitting the beer track, and then, like, Elizabeth Warren, Amy Klobuchar, Pete Buttigieg are splitting the wine track up, if it's just Joe Biden and Bernie doesn't get any of the wine track, and Joe Biden just dominates. So he gets...
So here's the thing, though, because it actually is true that Bernie did attack Joe Biden, especially when they were one-on-one. I remember very clearly in those debates when he was, he would attack him on whatever, the Patriot Act, he would attack him on NAFTA, he would attack him on the Iraq War, and he did go down the policy list. So it was, very substantive critiques.
It wasn't succinct. It wasn't...
Well, so to me, that wasn't the issue. Let me explain what I think the issue is, and then I'll let you respond. To me, it was a few things. Number one, what we learned from all the polling is this election was mostly about electability in the age of Trump. And so then the question is, well, how does Bernie make that electability argument in a way that lands politically? And this is something I had conversations with Faz about, where I was trying to give him advice to see if it would maybe get through to Bernie, where he would have had to make the argument, we ran this experiment already in 2016. We ran the safe establishment candidate, and it didn't work. Unless you want another Trump term, you have to vote for me. I'm the only one who can beat Donald Trump.
That was, and if I didn't state this clearly, I'm sorry. That was the core of the September debate idea. It was this these positions that you took make you unelectable.
It's got to be quicker. It's got to be comparing Biden to Hillary. Biden is Hillary. Biden is Hillary. That's the part he wouldn't do, which is the problem. Right. But then there's one other problem, too, which is even though he was going in on all the specific policy disagreements, he framed it as, look, I like Joe Biden. He's my friend. This is a gentleman's policy disagreement.
Yes.
The argument he had to make was, this is not a gentleman's policy disagreement. This guy is a product of the machine. He is corrupt. When Zephyr Teachout wrote that article calling Joe Biden corrupt and giving a plethora of evidence to prove that, Bernie got mad at Zephyr Teachout, and Bernie said, we're not going to do that kind of politics.
And Bernie personally apologized to Joe Biden.
Which is insane. Bernie, the reason why you have to go with that line of attack is because it's true, is because it's accurate. It wasn't about Bernie. Think of the person who had to cobble together their last $5 or $10 to give it to Bernie Sanders in the hopes that this guy's going to try to plow through the field and win. And then at the last minute, he doesn't go with the harsh attacks that are needed.
And look, with Bernie, the thing to note about him, right, despite staff advice, despite anything else, because I think if you polled staff, I would say 95%. I would say, first off, I think every senior staff member probably agreed with you, and probably, I would say 95% of the campaign probably felt the same way. But here's the thing about Bernie. It's not just he believes in an ideology. He has a very strong belief within himself about the way he wants to campaign and the way he wants to conduct himself in a campaign, that he doesn't just want to win a campaign. He wants to kind of shape how that campaign is won. And that's as deep a part of his ideology. And the idea and attacking Joe Biden in that way was very clearly, and I think that's a step too far for him, and he just wouldn't do it.
But it's factual. That's the problem. And, look, you got to speak facts. That has to come first.
Right. But the other side of that problem is the thing about Bernie is he's never going to not be Bernie. And it's what we love about him. And it's also, look, the superpowers are also the weaknesses, and the weaknesses are also the superpowers. Because if Bernie, I tell the story in the book, the T-shirt story in the book, I think is like the best physical exemplar of this. Did I tell it on the other show, the T-shirt?
I think you did, but tell it again for Kyle if you didn't hear it.
So we're in South Carolina. This is early for the Jim Clyburn's world famous South Carolina fish fry.